Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are on the last full week of the ACTEA Annual Leadership Conference. We are so glad that you all stuck with us over these last couple of weeks. Today, we are in for a treat. We are going to hear a presentation on virtual recruitment from Ms. Anna Fusco. But before we get started, we have a sponsor, Realityworks, that we'd like to share a commercial that they sent in for us. And without our generous partnership with these sponsors, this conference could not happen. So we are very happy and grateful for them. So if you wouldn't mind just watching this quick commercial, and then as soon as the commercial is off, I'm going to hand it over to Anna. I apologize for that. I apparently didn't turn my sound on, so let me fix that and start this over.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ann Bogstead, and I'm here with Realityworks and wanted to introduce you to us if you aren't familiar. We are a partner in education, and we develop skills training tools for CTE pathways to help students explore careers, develop their skills, technical and soft skills, and help them get on a pathway for the high wage, high demand careers in your area. We know that every district is a little different, and one area may focus on a specific pathway where another district may be focusing on something completely different. And we do have a variety of pathway programs. We focus on health sciences, child development, culinary, agriculture education, welding and construction, as well as employability and leadership skills. And our skills training tools, many are very hands-on. Some are wearable so that students actually experience what it may be like to be a patient in the health sciences world. We also have the assessments that are included with many of our products. So they can be used in workstations in a classroom where students can work through the hands-on skills training, getting immediate feedback on their skill and their progress. Teachers can access some of that data afterwards. So they're a great way to have stations set up for social distancing if needed, or virtual education, or right in the classroom. They're a great tool. Many students sign up for the classes with our products because they want to take our babies home, for example. We have many that want to try out our bovine breeder and see what that's like. Welding, virtual welding education. You know, all of our products are very safe because most are simulation based for that career exploration, and then great tools that you can even take out to your community to help show your parents or your community and industry what you're doing in your programs to help with the CTE goals. My goal is to help you evaluate our products. So if you'd like to learn more, we could set up a virtual meeting or a phone call or possibly in person. And please go to our website. We do have a lot of free webinars. We like to give resources to our educators that they can use today. So lots of lesson plans and ideas on tips and tricks for teaching, especially in a virtual world or right in classroom. And then also some testimonials and webinars from our educators that can share what's working for them to help you and your educators. And we also have some free career exploration curriculum that's available for you as well. We do fit middle school, high school, and post-secondary levels. So please take a look and let us know if we can help you learn a little bit more about our products to see if they are a good fit for you. My name again is Ann Bogstead, and thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day.
Well, we are so grateful for Realityworks and their sponsorship of this conference. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Anna. Anna, please take it away.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm just going to get my shared screen all set up here, everybody. Thank you for being here on a Monday morning. Very excited to be here, which means I might end up talking really fast. So if, if for any reason you need further clarification, there's going to be contact information at the end. You can always reach out to me. I'm here to help. But we're going to talk about virtual recruitment this morning and why it's a good thing, why it doesn't need to go away, and why it's not something we should be thankful we don't have to do anymore. We should really keep it up. So we're going to go through some reasons why, and then we're going to get into some tactics that you can implement that we've seen success with. So right out of the gate, Steve Jobs very famously said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. We're already leaders in education when it comes to career and tech ed and being able to offer something really unique to students in our component districts. Putting all of that online and changing our recruitment to be virtual and open to everyone is going to set us apart even more as a leader. Steve Jobs also famously said in 1997, think different, not differently, very specifically didn't say differently, because we don't want to change anything about recruitment. We don't want to change our opinion of recruitment. We want to do different styles of recruitment. So I'm going to ask that you kind of open your mind and think about how these can be put into practice for your district. So we're no longer seeing a demand for virtual options, but an expectation for virtual options. Not seeing Anna's presentation. Anyone else? Uh-oh. Anybody else? You see it? Okay, thank you. Okay, I was very anxious that I'm talking about virtual recruitment and then you couldn't see my presentation. So, okay, thank you. Kim, maybe back out and come back in, I don't know. So again, the expectation is there for virtual. It's not just an ask or something we do as supplemental, but families and students have come to expect to be able to go online and see what we have to offer. Anyone else having audio problems? Corey. Can you hear me? Yes, no? You're just fine. Okay, all right, we're gonna roll. But the expectation is that we can offer convenience, accessibility, and visibility. Convenience being the busy schedules and the demand on our parents. There's a lot to be done, a lot to do during the day. Sometimes making it to an open house is not going to be feasible. And we don't ever want that disadvantage of time to be a reason why someone can't look into what we offer. Accessibility is also huge. Meeting your audience where they're comfortable. For a while, that meant making sure that people were safe and distanced. But now having that accessibility just means that the information and your narrative, your voice is acceptable 24/7, 365. So being accessible is going to benefit you because you're going to be able to control the narrative about what you offer instead of handing that voice over to just maybe school counselors or just testimonials. People will be able to access that immediately. That goes hand in hand with visibility. So making sure that we're out in the front, that we're easy to find is really going to be important in a very digital world where people with one click can easily find information. If that one click can't happen with your information, consumers' patience level has plummeted. So if you're not a click away, that means we might not have students or parents going out of their way to find the information. So making sure that you're visible and accessible and making it convenient is going to be really important when you're talking about recruiting virtually. So just real quick, as a little warm up on Monday morning, if you could answer in the chat for me, what makes my school a unique place to be a leader? So It could be anything. I'm encouraging bragging at this point, just something that sets your school apart, that you are really proud of, that when you come in, you're like, yes, this is my center, this is my building, these are my students, and that makes you excited to like come in all the time. So I can say for sure that what makes it fun to be a leader at Erie One BOCES, and I'm not a building leader or district leader per se, but I am out in front. And it's really exciting to talk about all the different programs that we have. That's huge, because then we can turn around and find a whole lot of students that are interested in a lot of different avenues. It makes my job really fun and really easy. But the reason I asked you this question is because that is your brand, okay? That feeling, that excitement, the feeling of being unique and wanting to tell people why you're unique is your brand. Your brand is not your logo. Your brand is not your district color. Your brand is not, that you're hands-on. It is a feel and it is a culture. And that's really what we're talking about promoting when we're talking about virtual recruitment. So Career and Tech Ed has UBV. UBV is unique brand value. You and I know that we have unique brand value. We're hands-on, we're different. We have extreme value for after graduation or post-graduation experiences. But we also have an opportunity here where we need to look to post-secondary education when it comes to recruiting, because our component districts don't recruit, right? We live in a valley of public education where things are determined by the district you live in, and also by choice. We have choice-based education. Students have to want to come to us, kind of like a post-secondary education would do. So we have to look to them as opposed to our components for outreach opportunities and what they're doing successfully. And a lot of them have moved to virtual recruitment platforms. So some marketing 101, just some background info on how we can define your outreach mission, because if we don't define why we're doing something, it becomes very noisy, and we want to make sure that we're cutting through the noise and having a crystal clear voice when it comes to what we're promoting. In traditional marketing, you have the marketing mix. That's the 4 Ps. Product, price, place, and promotion. And for education, specifically CTE, that's pretty easy, right? Our product is education, our price is free, our place is our awesome CTE centers, and our promotion is that, oh, we're hands-on, we're different. We are not a traditional style company. We don't have a traditional product. What we really need to do is look to service marketing. We provide a service, and that's going to change some of these definitions. It's going to get a little bit more nuanced. So when we talk about product, we actually want to think solution. So not simply providing a product, we're offering a solution that meets the needs of our students. If they're looking for an education, if they're looking for something specific, we're providing a solution to that problem. We're filling that gap. When we talk about price, we're actually going to think value. You can talk about value of what we do in dollars if you want to go into articulation agreements, if you want to talk about college experiences or the money they'll save on certifications. But when you look at value as a whole, again, I'm talking to a bunch of people who know the value of a CTE experience. So you really want to push that, not just that it's free for the students or the parents, but the value, the inherent value of what we're offering. The place is more about access than the physical place. And that means what we're providing as far as outreach. That's the lens I'm looking at it through. If we're providing information online, that means consumers have constant access to what we offer. And if you're showcasing your centers, if you're showcasing your culture, having open access to all of those things is going to lead our students and our parents to have a much better, much more well-informed view when they're making their decisions. The other piece is promotion. We need to think information. Again, this comes back to a really educated end user. If we're buying a car, we are absolutely watching YouTube videos, looking at reviews, checking Kelley Blue Book, checking all these different avenues. People are doing that with their education as well, especially when it comes to CTE, and we might be fighting a preconceived notion about what a BOCES offers. So when you're giving consumers information to determine if a program is valuable and accessible for them, then you're doing yourself a service by putting that out there. So with the service marketing mix, we're not going to stop at 4 Ps. We're actually going to add 3 more. So we're going to have the 7 Ps of service marketing. We're going to add people, which is important to recognize that it's independent to the service itself, right? So you can look at the easy example would be teachers and how do they deliver the service? How do they deliver the education? That's part of it. But we can take that further if we're talking about recruitment to how am I delivering the information to my end user? If I am pulling a teacher from the peanuts, and not jazzed and excited about what we offer, the end user is also not going to be excited about what we offer, because the only tangible thing in that exchange is me, right? So the process, we already have a great process in education. It's about delivering a standardized and customized service at the same time. You can look at, what we offer. It's pretty standardized in our education. And then the customization piece would be your IEPs, 504s. So we're looking at equal and equitable service distribution. The physical evidence is really going to set us apart in CTE. It's the differentiator, right? It's our classrooms not having desks. It's when you walk through the building that it feels like a college campus. So pushing that is also going to be really important because again, in education, there's really no physical evidence. So we're going to talk more about the avenues that we use here at Erie One BOCES. These are not all of the avenues. These are the most successful ones because we've tried quite a few. And I do want to say that all of this is not a substitute for face-to-face communication at all, but it is a needed complement. And I would dare to say it's an expected and required complement at this point. And yes, I'm a millennial, but I do prefer face-to-face and print media. So there's that. You guys are here because you know that there's no way back. We have to do virtual, but it's already proven to be really powerful, at least for us in CTE. We've had a 2-year drought of bringing people into our centers or having students see what we offer firsthand. And we are coming out on the other side of that with lengthy wait lists for programs and a lot of students wanting to get in, and we're making sure that we do everything possible to get them all in. But that speaks volumes, right? That we have this influx in enrollment when we haven't been able to bring kids in to see like that, the bread and butter piece. And last quote, I promise, but well done is better than well said. I kind of alluded to this just a second ago, but these are things that we've done at Erie One BOCES that have been successful. I could talk about all these hypothetical, you could do this, you could do that, but these are tangible things that we've proven to work. So we've had great success. We usually use Google Workspace, a variety of social media platforms, and always QR codes, always QR codes. So let's dig in, shall we? So first and most importantly, arguably, is Google Workspace. We use Google Workspace for a lot. The main benefits are its familiarity. Students, parents, teachers, everyone is using Google Workspace, whether it's Google Classroom. Everyone has had experience with a Google Doc for the most part. So using a platform that people are familiar with is going to be really, really important. On the creator side, the drag and drop features are going to be a great place to get started. The templates that Google offers is going to allow you to work smarter, not harder. You can brand everything, change everything, but also you won't have to worry about like, oh, I'm coding a website. It'll be really easy, really user-friendly interface. The other important part is the multimedia. So you can house all media, including video, photo, PDFs, links. You can do that all in one place without it taking a toll on what you're using. Let's say it's Google Slides. You can have all of those things on one slide, and it's not going to hinder the usability for the person experiencing it on the other end. And adaptability is probably the most important piece, in my opinion, that changes can be made without disruption. So if I were to create a document on Google and I want to get it out, I put a QR code to it and I notice a spelling error or something along those lines, I can go into that Google document, make changes, and immediately those changes will be visible to the end user. I won't need to change links. I won't need to change QR codes. That means my print media is still safe. I don't need to reprint anything. And as things change, we want that ability. So I'll show you in a little bit what I mean by that, but having that adaptability on the creator end is going to be paramount. So the two we use most are Google Forms and Google Slides. So Google Forms is going to be a great way to survey your parents, your students. We do a lot of question and answer. The most important thing about Google Forms and having questions about how you're going to start your outreach is that your answers are walking in your hallway. So ask the students, how did they find us? How did they decide to come to CTE? What do they like about it? What don't they like about it? This is going to help you find your why when it comes to your virtual outreach. So up here, I do have a 52% yes and a 48% no. What we've done with Google Forms is any student that's wanting to drop a program, if they've said it wasn't for them, or if they want to switch into a different program, we ask them to fill out a Google form, just a quick survey to ask a few questions so that we can better enhance our recruitment. And the question for this was the program you're currently in your first choice? This is super important to know that half of the kids that wanted to switch out of a program already didn't want to be in that program. So this informed my recruitment tactics with our component counselors to say, okay, we need a really in-depth look at what the programs really do so that we're putting the right kids in the right seats for the right reasons. And we're all in ACTEA, so we all know Mark Perna's whole thing. We want to make sure that we have everybody in the right place at the right time. So this really helped inform our next steps. Without a reason, you're just going to make noise, right? So survey those people, ask them questions. The more fun way that we use Google Forms is to do things like Buzzfeed Quizzes. So I made this "Which CTE program are you?" quiz. We put this out when we couldn't have 8th graders come in for our Taste of Tech event. So this went to middle school and high school counselors. They put it into their Google Classrooms or sent it to their students. And it really just got students thinking about CTE. Which program am I? And it really is light, it's fun, it's easy to maintain. Again, it's really easy to edit. So if I wanted to promote other programs, I could put more questions in here. I could make it longer, shorter to hit on all of our programs. But really, it just gets people interacting with the options for CTE. We've had really good success with this. I have had a parent or two reach out to me from the 8th grade side, you know, from that recruitment saying, what is this? Because they didn't know what CTE was. And that really opened the door for me to tell them about what their students' options were going to be in high school. And again, it's light and it's fun, and it gets kids thinking about career and tech ed. So now, which program are you? I'd love to know which program you think you are. And I will absolutely send out the link to that later on if people are interested in finding out what Iriumboses thinks the class that's for them. I would be cosmetology because I taught cos at Harkness and at Potter, but I think I'm a little more digital media now. So speaking of digital media, so we also use Google Slides. Google Slides makes it really convenient to access a lot of information at once. So what we've done is make these what I call landing pages, where you can house some information about a program, but you can also have video embedded and buttons that'll take the user to different places that you want them to go. This all comes back to convenience, accessibility, and visibility. All of these are really important. I don't know if you know this, but Google Slides can also operate as a website. You publish it as website, and it'll give you a URL. You can link that URL, you can QR code that URL. So it allows you to have all of your things in one place. Because anytime someone clicks from YouTube and then they think, oh, I want to email this, I want to go to our TikTok here, I want to do that, that's a chance for them to get lost or drop off. So we wanted to put it all in one place where we could control the voice and the narrative and make sure that the user had access to contact us with any questions. So that's how we use Google Slides. QR codes are really, really important. You know, you can have your print media cake and eat it too. This is the best way to get a lot of information out without taking up a lot of space. And people may think that they're really trendy and it's a thing of the future, but QR codes were first invented in 1994. So they're actually a thing of the past. And they were invented in Japan for an auto company. Also, fun fact, QR code stands for quick response code. So you can tell everyone that for the rest of the day. The way that we use QR codes is through traditional media. We will take any print media that we create and throw a QR code on there because we're going to be able to house more information in that QR code than we can on that brochure or that pamphlet. We also like to make sure that we loop our outreach efforts together so that they're not siloed in print and digital. They really do need to work together. They need to look like each other just to push that brand message. And we also use QR codes for events and signups and surveys just to make it really easy for people. We also always have a phone number or an email they can reach out to if they're not QR savvy, which is okay. But this is really an effortless way to take all of your digital outreach and make sure it's working twice as hard for you on your print media. So the way that we do that here at Erie One is we have paint chip cards. I call them paint chip cards because when we set them all up, it kind of looks like you're picking out paint at a hardware store. They're all in rows and stacked really nicely. So all of those QR codes that you're seeing right now link to those individual landing pages in Google Slides and house all of the different information that a parent or a student might be looking for. We then took all of those QR codes on those paint chip cards and put them on a poster sized piece of paper. Now, when I go out to districts and I do big presentations, I might be in an auditorium of 200 students. I bring that bigger printout so that students walk away with every single QR code. But then we also make it not necessarily poster size, but maybe ledger 11 by 17. And we give that to each and every counselor of our component districts so that not only do they have access to all the information, but anyone walking into their office or making their schedule can very quickly make an assessment and about programming and see what we offer. And these have been really, really well received by our component districts. And social media. So this is definitely the hot outreach method, but it needs to be used appropriately. Again, talking about throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks is going to be noisy. We don't want to do things just to do them. We want to make sure we have a why, and we're going to talk about our social media. So the biggest thing about social media is to meet your audience. Again, the answer, your audience are walking through your halls. You are more than welcome to ask students, what is what's going on? What's this trend in social media? Or what would you like to see on social media from us? Because in my experience, they are happy to tell you. I was taken to church by some 16-year-olds, if you will, and they gave me really great information about what to do and what not to do when it comes to social media outreach. And it really was eye-opening because I am not, 15. The other piece is to not overproduce your social media. Social media is really about pulling down that wall of having things really polished and produced. So if you're making a video, you want it to be done on a cell phone. You don't need a camera. If you don't want to have a script necessarily either. It should be off the cuff and authentic. Authenticity is a big piece when it comes to successful social media accounts. So we at Erie and BOCES do have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm assuming that you in your districts also have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're going to talk about these really quickly. With Facebook, Facebook is a great way to share information, but it's not going to be the best way to reach students in a recruitment capacity. The largest age group we're looking at are 25 to 34-year-olds with Facebook. So we are not going to be capturing students' attention or their parents' attention. We're really just hitting right in the middle. So Facebook is necessary, absolutely, but likely you have followers already. Those are who's seeing your content, which means they've already bought in. Maybe they're alumni, parents of students currently in programs. So this is not the demographic for recruitment. Information sharing, yes. Recruitment, no. Instagram, same thing. Instagram is also owned by Facebook, so you're going to see a lot of overlap there. Same demographic for age. Again, great to share information, to have another touch point there. But when it comes to recruiting new students, not necessarily going to be your thing. And Twitter. Twitter, we skew a little bit younger. Twitter is going to be a great way to maybe reach out to alumni. If you're trying to start like an alumni association or get testimonials about the programs and where people are now. But again, when it comes to recruitment, those students aren't typically on Twitter. Where they do live, however, is TikTok. So TikTok has the best age demographic for what we're trying to do, and they spend a ridiculous amount of time on it per day. So about an hour and a half is spent per day by 10 to 19-year-old TikTok users. The other one that would be at the forefront would be Snapchat. I did not want to touch that with a 10-foot pole because I don't really dive into Snapchat, and I think it has some communication stipulations. However, if you guys are using Snapchat, I would love to know how. So if you could reach out to me, I would love to know how you're doing it. I know a lot of post-secondary schools do, but I don't think it's necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I'm curious if you guys are using Snapchat for outreach. But let's talk about TikTok. So TikTok is going to let you communicate your quote unquote vibe. It's all about showing off your culture. It's all about showing off the exciting things going on in your school and being fun and light and funny. So I have the sound turned off on these TikToks because otherwise it would be very loud. But these are some of the ones that we've had great success with on our TikTok account. The one you're watching right now, I think has like 65,000 views. This one might have 40. We have a couple with 65. We have a couple with 40. But we're just showing off our classrooms and what we do. It's very, very smooth, very simple, very minimal. Another one, we had a program, cosmetology. So what you're seeing is that we got our teachers involved, we got our students involved, and they're having a lot of fun. So what people are going to see is that they're having a ton of fun. Our teachers are on board, and you're also getting to show off the awesome spaces that you occupy in your labs and in your shops. So the coolest thing to come out of our TikTok account would be all of the comments that are left on our videos. So I have the sole benefit of seeing these comments because I moderate our TikTok account, but seeing students that don't have access to programs that we find so important here in New York State, seeing these comments about kids not being able to come to these programs or what it could have done for them is huge. There is really nothing as strong as testimonial, and that's what these are. So when you have all of these comments, feel free to use these in your marketing. Feel free to use these when you're trying to promote or when you're trying to leverage getting a TikTok for your district. I have found it really important to communicate these comments to our teachers as well, because we're seeing a lot of students that are looking for these opportunities in CTE, and here is the proof. So when we send prospective students to our TikTok and they do scroll through the comments, they see comments like this, and your value just skyrocketed, right? Because again, that testimonial is right there. So how we approach TikTok and really most of our outreach is inclusive. All programs are created equal. We have a lot of flashy programs that are really cool and really visual, but you have to give just as much attention to the ones that aren't as flashy or aren't as visual. And that can sometimes be challenging and you have to get a little creative. We do bring creativity to our posts. So we like to use trends. That's a nice thing about TikTok is it tells you what's trendy. It'll give you the sounds. It'll give you all of those things that you see the students doing those dances in the hallway. Or you could do something like Teach Talk. There's a huge presence for teachers on TikTok. You can use their videos to promote your videos. You can stitch and all these other things. Some of these words I'm saying, unless you've interacted with TikTok, might not make a ton of sense, but I'd encourage you to kind of investigate, even if you're not interested in creating one, just so you can understand what this demographic is looking for in terms of content. And consistency. Admittedly, we're all very busy. I am not the most consistent when it comes to posting on TikTok, and I see a difference in the visibility that our posts get. However, even if you're using TikTok to create fun videos and not doing it for any level of social media visibility outside of your component districts, you still will have that content that you can put out in different digital places, like put it on your Google Slides or put it onto your website even. So just having the content at the ready is really what TikTok is great at. So I know I warned you that I would talk really fast. I know I talked really fast, but where do we start? And you're going to start with what you've got already. Again, we went through 2 years of virtual recruitment. So I know that everyone has something. So what I would encourage you to do is revisit the things that you already have and assess, is it still working for you? Is it still serving a purpose? You then could take those 7 Ps and maybe define what those modes are, or what the things that you have, what they're doing, what Ps that they're hitting, and maybe fill in the gaps from there, making sure that you are covering all your marketing bases. And then create. You don't want to start with nothing. You guys have stuff already. So revisit it, redefine your outreach and what it's going to look like, maybe what it means to have virtual with in-person as we come out of this haze of COVID and we're able to be in front of people. How do they work together? And then create things that support your in-person recruitment as well. So again, I know I talked really fast. So here is my contact information. Anna Fusco, CTE Outreach Specialist. It's my phone number at my desk and my email. And I'm always happy to collaborate. I've seen some people with TikToks. I know Erie 2 has one. I know Genesee Valley has one. And I love being able to comment as Erie 1 BOCES on your accounts and like your videos. And we can go back and forth when it comes to creating Google Slides or creating print media with QRs and making it all cyclical. I'm happy to help. So I am available if you have any questions, but let's see. I wanted to save a little time for any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute, feel free to write it in the chat. Any of those things. I'll keep this shared though, just in case.
Anna, I was looking through the chat just to see if there were any questions in there, but it looks like people were just making comments, and I think maybe you addressed some of the other questions, but we do appreciate your time today. We'll pause for maybe one more minute. This is your last opportunity to ask Anna any question that you may want. Please feel free to unmute yourself. Please also don't forget to fill out the survey and let us know how you thought or what you think about the session. We appreciate her time today. Okay, well, with that being said, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. If you plan on joining us at 10:15, it's going to be this same link, so feel free to stay on. I'll keep the room open. But again, thank you, Anna. We really appreciate you. And thank you to Realityworks for sponsoring this session.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Have a great Monday.